Hey everybody, welcome back to the Rooted Coop channel. Today we're diving back into our dual lye soap paste that I showed you in the last video. I'm going to demonstrate a few different products that you can make from this versatile soap paste. Whether it's a facial wash, liquid soap, or even a foaming hand soap, this paste is such a fun base to work with. So let's jump right in. It's a super cold morning here, so my soap paste is firm and perfectly set. I've stored it in this container and I'll measure out about 8 ounces for our first project, a facial wash. I'm making this primarily for my daughter as an acne-friendly wash. To start, I'm adding the soap paste into my container to measure and then into my stand mixer using the paddle attachment. Next, I'm going to show you how to turn the soap paste into a liquid soap. I'm going to measure out 4 ounces of the soap paste and add in equal parts of hot distilled water, so about 4 ounces of that as well. I'm going to give it a quick stir and then I'm going to let it sit for the time that we are working on making up our facial wash. And then we will check back in on that once we are done with the other project. So I'm jumping around a little bit here, but I wanted to show a couple of different uses for this. There are so many, it's very versatile, so there's so many different ways you can use this, and I wanted to just quickly show you a couple of different things that you can easily do with this. I'm just going to add in the hot water from my kettle here, and that will allow the soap paste to start softening up, so it'll make it turn into our liquid hand soap. Just going to give this a quick stir and kind of take my spoon to work down some of the clumps to get it to start melting or dissolving. And again, with it being so cold, there's a lot of steam from that water, so it's not nearly as hot as it looks. But I did use warm water to do this, but it was really cold this morning when I was making this video. Okay, so I'm going to put that to the side, and we're going to get back to our facial wash. I'm going to turn on my mixer here, the stand mixer, and start whipping this soap paste up to start softening it a little bit. And then while this is blending this together, I'm going to go ahead and prepare my other ingredients that I will be adding. I'm going to add some additional oils to help make this a little bit more creamier, but also for their skin loving benefits as well. So I'm going to be measuring out vegetable glycerin, which is a humectant, so it's going to help to draw some moisture into the face. It's going to help to draw some moisture into the skin. I'm going to be adding in some sweet almond oil. This is also going to be adding some nourishment to the skin. And of course, I wanted to add in some vitamin E oil. These oils will help the soap paste to become softer so we can scoop it easily, but also add so many skin loving qualities that we're looking for. But you could also add any other kind of oil that you feel would be good for the purpose that you're making this for. That's one of the things about soap making. It doesn't have to be done the same. You can add in the ingredients that work best for you and the end result that you're looking for. So you can definitely customize this to your needs and to the ingredients that you have and that you are comfortable working with. And I'm just going to let this mix a little bit more. I want to add activated charcoal powder to help with the impurities, and then also want to be adding in some kaolin clay for its gentle cleansing properties. I'm going to be gathering those up, and to keep the powder from flying everywhere, I'm going to mix those with just a little fractionated coconut oil before adding them to this paste. This step will help the powder to disperse evenly without clumping, and it'll just make it so much simpler to add into our soap paste here in a moment. I'm not sure if the whisk attachment would have done a better job on this or not, but I'm trying to use the paddle on this. It ends up working out just fine, but the whisk might have been a little bit better. I had made this soap paste and it's been sitting for a little while, so it was definitely ready to be turned into something wonderful. But the possibilities of what you can do with this are endless. You could add whatever ingredients that you wanted, or different types of oils or infused oils even. So the possibilities are up to your imagination and whatever you feel would be best. And again, I've got my kaolin clay and my activated charcoal in this little cup, so I'm just going to add a little bit of the coconut oil to this. And I'm going to add for a scent to this, I'm going to use some lavender and some tea tree essential oil. They're both great for skin soothing properties. And I will also be adding in a preservative. I'm using Optifin at 2%, since this is going to be exposed to water during use. And I did add a little bit of hot water to this to kind of help thin the paste just slightly to make it creamy, but still thick enough to hold its shape. So I'm just using my chopstick here to kind of disperse the activated charcoal and kaolin clay in that oil, so it'll just make adding it in so much easier. So if you was wanting to make a sugar scrub, you would be adding sugar into this as well. I was planning to do a sugar scrub out of this, but I just didn't have the time to get it done on this particular day. And I was really wanting to do this facial wash, so but it would be a lot of the same steps. You would just take the soap paste and then add some additional oil to it to get the consistency that you want, and then you would add your sugar and your either fragrance or essential oil to it. And then you would also be able to add mica powder if you wanted to for colors to that. Again, this product it's very versatile on what all you can do with it. You could make a beard wash out of it. I did add some ground oats to this as well. And then there's just a little bit of hot water or warm water that I'm adding to kind of help get it the creamy consistency that I'm looking for. And I'm just going to let all of this blend together until it gets to this nice creamy paste here. I wanted it to be easy enough to scoop out of the container to wash your face with, also thick enough to actually hold its shape so it's not just running everywhere. I was also thinking with the wonderful ingredients in it, you could apply it to wash your face and then let it sit for a few moments to actually get some of the benefits from the charcoal and the kaolin clay. So it's not just in the essential oil as well. So it's not just a apply and rinse off product. I wanted it to be able to stay on for a few moments. So I was super pleased with the consistency of this. Again, I was just making this for personal use. And so I've got a couple of the little jar containers that I will be just using my spatula here to scoop it into. I wanted to do this as kind of a test batch and then also show y'all some different ways that we could use this. But again, if you was wanting to turn this into a sugar scrub, you would have just added the sugar to it. And you could get that the consistency that you want as well. So it'd be a nice whipped soap paste for you. And I'm just tapping it there on the counter to get all the air bubbles out. You could also put it into a bag to pipe it, but with the amount that I have here, I wasn't going to go to that much trouble to dirty up even more things. So I just went ahead and used my spatula and just scooped it into the container and then just gave it a good tap on the counter. I believe this ends up making about 1.5 of these little containers here. I'll give you all a little sneak peek of how it performs here, and then I'll also show some foaming test at the end. I added a little bit of that warm water to the bowl, and here's what the paste looks like. See how it's nice and creamy. Works into a lather very easily. It's very moisturizing. Okay, so that is all done. So now we're going to go back to our turning this soap paste into a liquid soap. So this has been sitting off to the side while I done the other. It was probably maybe 20 to 30 minutes, and it's just been sitting in the container here with the hot water on it. I still have a few lumps and clumps in here, so I'm just using the back of my spoon to try to work those out. I'm trying to avoid getting a whole lot of bubbles on top, so I just want to kind of gently stir it around to let it become our liquid soap. I'm just going to spritz a little bit of alcohol on this to get rid of those bubbles, so you can see how easily the alcohol will take care of that. But since it still has some clumps and lumps in it, I want to let it sit a little bit longer. I would suggest maybe doing this to let it sit overnight if you can. And that's what I had taken a few days earlier, and had added some soap paste to a little jar and added the hot water to it. And I just let it sit on my counter. It is all liquid with no lumps or clumps in it. So what I'm going to do is I have some of these foaming hand soap bottles. So I'm going to pour some of that liquid soap. Get my funnel out here. I'm going to pour some of this liquid soap into this foaming dispenser. And right now it doesn't have any fragrance in it. It's unscented. I'm just going to add a little bit of fragrance to the container once I get the soap poured in and blend it that way. If you're able to let that sit overnight, that will allow the soap to disperse with the water and blend up a whole lot easier for you. Also allow it to thicken and come to room temperature. Okay, so I have poured the liquid soap into my container here. And I'm just going to add a little bit of essential oil to this. I believe I'm doing some lemongrass and some lavender for these. And I'm just going to add in a few drops because, again, these are just going to be for our personal use at the house. Get the cap screwed on here, and this will be all done. Just need to stir it or shake it a little bit to disperse the essential oil in the soap, and it will be ready to use. And I had a little bit of the soap left, so I'm going to turn that into just a little bit of liquid hand soap. So I had this little container, and I'll get my funnel out again. And basically we're going to do the same thing. I'm going to pour this little bit of soap that's left, that's ready to go, into my container here. And then I'm going to add a little bit of essential oil to it to give it a little bit of fragrance. And I will be taking that to the house as well. And then I will show y'all the lather test so you can see how these perform. Just adding a few drops of essential oil. Again, I'm going with the lemongrass and lavender for these. And then just twirl it around and mix it in there. With that brown bottle, it makes it a little harder to see. Alright, well, we are going to do a lather test. Add a little bit of that warm water to this so we can see how these perform. Alright, so here is our foaming hand wash or hand soap. Get it all primed up here. And it just lathers up beautifully. It feels wonderful on the skin. Just look at those luscious bubbles. So this is perfect for refilling those foaming hand soap dispensers or just to use as a regular hand soap. And then adding in fragrance or essential oil of your choice to make it whatever scent that you're looking for. And I'm going to use a little bit of this facial wash. I love how it's all done. I've got it transferred into those containers and it just holds its shape, but it's still soft enough to scoop out easily so you can get as much or as little as you want. You could easily use this with your fingers or a washcloth or a facial scrubber. And here's the quick lather test. And it just bubbles up beautifully on there as well. Let it sit on your skin for just a minute or two to let that activated charcoal work its magic. It's got those really tight bubbles in it. It leaves you feeling clean and refreshed. Alright, here is our last one for the day. It's the liquid hand soap that we just made. Add a little water to that. And it bubbles up beautifully as well. So there you go. 3 different products made from our soap paste. And again, the possibilities with this soap paste are just endless. It's just up to your creativity of what all you want to make with it. But if you're into handmade products and learning new ways to use them, subscribe and stick around for more fun projects. Thank you so much for watching. Be sure to stick around for some quick recipes that I hope give you some inspiration for using soap paste in different ways. Merry Christmas and Happy Holidays to you and your loved ones. This will likely be my last video of the year, so I want to thank you all for your incredible support throughout 2024. It truly means the world to me. As we wrap up the year, I am already excited for what's coming next. My first video of 2025 is going to be all about making liquid castile soap in the crock pot. So be sure and stay tuned for that. Wishing you peace, joy, and a wonderful new year. Remember, stay clean, stay creative, and stay rooted. Bye for now.